Hello my fellow warrior enthusiasts, it's me Cloud Nemesis, back at it again with another video. Today I'm glad to announce that I'm gonna do my first Fury Warrior guide. I will try to keep it as short but as detailed as possible at the same time. Will try to talk about stuff that is really relevant and rather keep out the irrelevant stuff. At the end of the video, if you still got questions or you might not understand something, just join my Discord. The link is in the description and I will try to help you as much as I can. Okay, so what do we need to know as a Fury Warrior beginner? So the most important part about being a Fury Warrior is obviously we are able to use two-handed weapons. We are also able to use two one-handed weapons, but that's rather irrelevant right now. So focus on getting two-handed weapons to play Fury Warrior on the maximum output. Okay, so a basic information that many people seem to forget when they play Fury Warrior is actually the passive we have. We have the passive called Enrage. And Enrage is giving us a 4-second buff, usually 4 seconds if you don't take a special talent. So 4-second buff where we get enraged for 4 seconds and deal 36% more damage in my case. But usually it depends on the mastery you have. This is the stat right here. So if we have a lot of mastery, the enrage buff gets buffed. Okay, but how do we get enraged? Enrage usually is being procced by your ability Bloodthirst, and it has a 45% chance to enrage you. There are certain talents, which we'll be looking at later, which can optimize your enrage potential, but usually is either Bloodthirst or Rampage. Both of these things will or can enrage you. And as a Fury Warrior, we really want to optimize the time of being enraged as much as we can. Because every second or every spell we use without being enraged is a 30% damage loss or 36% damage loss in my case. Alright? And it may vary depending on your stats you have. If it's 40%, it's a 40% mastery, you lose 40% damage on that spell, which you did without being enraged. The second thing I want to tell you is how does Fury Warrior actually work in the most uncomplicated way to explain it. Usually, if you break down Fury Warriors, it's just about building up rage and spending rage. It's all about this rhythm of building up rage and spending rage. So you have abilities that build up rage, and you have an ability that spends rage. So usually what this whole Fury Warrior build is about is you use Raging Blow, Bloodthirst, Execute, and you want to reach 80% rage. This is the rage where you can see here. To use your strongest ability, which is called Rampage. Okay, so you build up 80 rage, Rampage. You try to build up 80 rage, Rampage. And this is like the easiest breakdown. You try to maximize your rage as much as you can and use your strongest abilities as fast as you can. And when you do it fast, rapidly, you're obviously going in, pressing every button you have and doing it as fast as you can, right? The Fury Warrior is a high APM class, so it's very, very fast, very, very fast paced. So if you're rather the type of guy or girl who likes to play it more slowly, Fury Warrior might not be the best for you. But if you like this, the way of high APM gaming, fast button pressing, Fury Warrior will be the right pick for you. Okay, so this is the easier breakdown on how we play as warrior. But we will go into certain talent and certain builds later on in the video, so stay tuned to not miss it. But yeah, that's the most basic way of describing Fury Warrior. Buffing up yourself, build up rage, and spend rage. Okay, before we talk about rotation, we should talk about stats, because stats overall are very important for your character to deal or heal as much as possible. Before we start to go into secondary stats, we should talk about main stat, and this is, for us warriors, strength. Strength increases the magnitude of our attacks and abilities, which means, or translates into, our attacks and our abilities deal more damage if we have more strength. Okay, you can find strength on every kind of piece. Here you can see it, pants with 400 strength, or waist, but there's no main stat on rings, on certain trinkets, and on necks. So everything else has main stat. And if we are new to the game and you're currently playing Fury Warrior or Arms Warrior or any different character, it doesn't matter, you should always go for the highest item level, because the higher item level has more main stat. And main stat is overall always better than any secondary stat. Even if if you have two pieces, like a pants with 421 and a pants with 418, okay? And the 418 pants has your bis secondary sets like haste, mastery, false Fury Warriors, and the 421 has crit haste verse. It will still outperform the lower one because it has more main stat, and more main stat is main stat. A point in main stat scales more than secondary stats. Okay, so if you are new to World of Warcraft or your lower item level and you're wondering, okay, which gear should I wear, you should go for higher item level. It's obviously different if you get an item from a vault and you have like a bis trinket. That's something different, but we can talk about it later. Okay, so that's about main stat. If we talk about secondary stats, we are looking at critical strike, haste, mastery, verse. The other ones are just like proc chances and things you have in your talents like Legion Avoidance. Critical strike. We want to have critical strike at around 25+%, but it's not that important. It just gives us a chance for extra effectiveness on our attacks and heals. It just increases the damage we can deal by proc chance. But what we really want to look at is haste, because haste not only increases the attack speed that we have, it also increases the spell casting speed and the spell cooldown. So you can look at this here. Let's say I don't wear this ring. Right now, Bloodthirst is on a... Let me change the camera real quick. Bloodthirst is currently, you can see it here, on a 3.4 second cooldown, okay? If we take away my haste ring, it's on 3.5. If I take away my haste weapon, it's on 3.7. Another haste weapon, 3.8. So you see, the more haste you have, the faster your abilities are back. Usually you want to go for 25 to 30% haste. This is like the optimal amount of haste. Everything above is just too much, because you have something called a diminishing return, which means at a certain point, the point or the value shrinks if you go higher. I'm currently sitting on 32% because this is my because of this ring, because I'm going in tyrannical, I'm going for boss damage, and I'm trying to improve my boss damage with this passive, which means I have to take more haste, but that's fine. Okay, that's about haste. Mastery. Mastery increases damage while being enraged by 35 almost percent. Why 35? Because I have 35 mastery. So it means 1% mastery equals 1% more damage while being enraged. And this is very important for us warriors, Fury Warriors, because we want to increase our damage, we want to increase our enrage timer, right? Like we want to have as much enrage timer as we have to increase our damage dealt overall. So what we really want to do is hit a 30 to 40% mastery is what we should aim for, which means every attack we deal while being enraged is 30 to 40% higher. That's very good. Versatility is very important for PvP. I don't know much about PvP, but if you're going to play PvP, you want to have as much verse and haste as you can. Crit. Crit and verse is what you want to have, as much as you can. As Fury Warrior, I think it's haste. As Arms, it's crit. So, but I know it's verse. Like, verse 100%. You need a lot of verse. Because it increases the damage and healing done by 7% and decreases damage taken. So it's like a mixture of tankiness and damage. It's very important for hierarchies to have a lot of verse, So that's why we're going for the verse file. But overall, you should go for the for verse when you're done equipping and you can optimize your gear. Okay, Legion Avoidance is something nice to have, but it's usually with proc chances, so you cannot really skill for it. But if you got a piece with Leech or Avoidance, go for it, why not? Obviously, not over your secondaries or your main set, it's just nice to have. Okay, so let's continue with Enchants. Which Enchants should we use for our Fury Warrior? So Enchants, I'm going double Frozen Devotion. It zips for me best. Frozen Devotion gives us a glacial damage. We can see it here. Frozen Devotion dealt 1 million damage in the last key I did. At least half the key, because I finished the key only halfway through, so 1 million damage passively. It's 2.7% of my whole damage, so it's nice because Frozen Devotion procs per attacks, and as Fury Warrior we have a lot of attacks in a short time, so that means Frozen Devotion has a lot of stacks. But it can be, if you sim your character, that you are low on haste or low on mastery, or low on main set, and it wants you to go Sophic Devotion. Sophic Devotion is the haste one, or which is the other one? I forgot the name. Okay, okay, either you go Sophic Devotion, which gives you primary set on proc by 15 seconds, or you go Wafting Devotion, which gives you haste by 1500, so it's a lot of haste if it procs. It's also just proc chances, it doesn't give you flat those stats. You can, as a viewer, you luckily can have 2 of those enchants, so if you go 1 Sophic and 1 Wafting, it's also very good. But as I said, Frozen Devotion for me it's the best. You can just zim it and see what is currently the best for you. But on a note, if you're low on haste and you got everything geared and you're low on haste, you can maybe go Wafting Devotion to increase your haste on a chance. Okay, what do we go? Go on rings. On rings, we can just decide on what we need. Like currently, I could take away the haste and go for mastery, but I'm taking those 2 on haste because I'm playing a lot of Arms Warrior, and Arms Warrior needs as much haste as possible. So I'm having haste right now. But if you see, oh, I have 32% haste and I want more mastery, you can just proc mastery on your rings. Put mastery on your rings. For sockets, it's the same. You just look what stat do I need, and you just put it on. Watcher's Loam increases our health. We want this, obviously, so we have a little more health to tank, or to survive. Fierce Armor Kit gives us armor and main set. We really want those. So Fierce Armor Kit, 100% you want that. Waking Stats gives us flat secondary stats. We also want that. And Graceful Avoidance just means a little bit more stamina and avoidance, which means we take reduced damage from area effects. It's very nice to take those for raid and then plus, so we don't get as much damage taken from those area effects. We really want those. Okay, and as I said, for sockets, you really want to put on the sockets you need. But the one socket you really have to use, and you can put it on a lariat or anywhere else, is the primary set. You can put one of those in your gear. You really want that primary set. It's very important because, as I said, main stat is very good. And if we have the chance to put extra main stat on our gear, we will really want to do it. Okay. For weapon enchants, we want to go for the main set enchants, but I'm currently going for the haste enchants because I really need haste on arms. So you can go for haste or for crit if you need, or for mastery if you need it. But there's also one that gives you main stat or attack damage on your weapons. This would be the best for you. Okay, on Flask, I'm going for the File of Tepid Versatility because I need versatility to survive the higher item level keys. But it's always a good choice because it makes you more tanky, it gives you more damage, and as few warriors, let's be honest, we are a little more bulky, which means we can take a lot of damage and still deal a lot of damage, so why not increase that even more? And if I want to use a pot on CDs, I'm currently using Elemental Potion of Power, which gives me primary set, but increase for 664 for 30 seconds. But on pulls like Academy and anything over 8 targets, I'm using Shocking Disclosure, because this pot really deals a lot of damage in big pulls. And yeah, why not? It just passively deals like 1 million damage. Just passively. Just deals 1 million damage, and that's like insanely good. So I would choose those. And for food, I would eat the Fated Fortune cookies, which give me 75% strength. And don't forget, you have to, if you don't have it already, you can use the embellishment, increasing duration of well-fed bonuses from Dragon Isle meals by 100%, and they now persist through death, which is very important, because this cookie, you cannot use while being in plus, because this item gives you, every time you eat it, it gives you a ticket, and you cannot loot in M+, so you can only eat it once before. But if you don't have the cookies, you can also take the Grand Bouquet of Kaluak, which gives you also 75%. It costs a little more gold, but it gives everyone in your team a buff. And yeah, why not? If you have the gold, I would spend it on it. Okay, and now let's head up to embellishments. Which embellishments should you use as a Fuel Warrior? Currently, I'm using Lariat because it gives us secondary stats on a proc, and it's very, very good for us. For actually any class, it's insanely good. So we really want to have the Lariat. For second, we either go for the weapon. If you can go for 4-item weapon, it gives there's a weapon that gives you a main stat, another main stat, extra damage proc. You can go for the weapon, or for the pants that gives you the haste increase. I will put the effects in the right here. I will put, oh wait, no, there. I'll put them on the top there. Which pants and weapon you should use if you're crafting one. I'm currently using the Frostfire belt only because I'm hoping to get the ring of the first boss. Aranok is this one. Let me show it to you real quick. This one, which dealing fire damage has a chance to ignite your enemies, burning them for additional 7k damage, which is nice to have. And if you have the Frostfire belt, you're obviously always dealing fire damage, so the proc chance is very high. Yeah, and that's why I'm wearing the Frostfire belt. Currently, I would rather wear the pants, but I already have 421 pants, so that would be a waste. I might go for a weapon enchant soon, for a weapon, 418 weapon with the stat on it, with the extra damage on it. Okay, next up, let's talk about trinkets. Which trinkets do we want to use as a Fuel Warrior? So from Sims and websites and personal experience, I can tell you that the best current trinkets would be for Fuel Warrior the puzzle box, because it lines very, very good with your big cities. Every two big cities will line with your puzzle box, and puzzle box gives you 4,000 mastery. Let's use it. You have 37 right now, and now I have 67, which means I have almost 70% more damage for the duration of the puzzle box while being enraged. And that's insane. That's a huge damage buff for us. So we really want to farm the puzzle box. Otherwise, we can use the Grief Torch from Diona. Grief Torch is a great item for raid and M+ to ensure big amounts of damage while fighting the bosses or for M+. And it also resets by 90 seconds if an allied player dies. And you know, with our clown teammates, it always will happen at some point. So Grief Torch, also a very good item. Otherwise, we can use the Whispering Incarnate Icon. Whispering Incarnate Icon gives us passive stats, and it can also buff our teammates, and the teammates can also buff us. So it's also a very nice passive item which we can have. Other than that, currently the trinket from Court of Stars, the Windscar Whetstone, is also very nice. It doesn't have main set on it, it has mastery, but a slicing maelstrom surrounds you, inflicting, let me see the right version, 312k physical damage to nearby enemies over 6 seconds. And it's insanely good for a single target, because it always deals 300k damage just with this trinket, and it has a 2-minute cooldown, so it's very nice. And if you are low on mastery, you can also pump your mastery with it. It's also very good. Other than that, the last trinket I can really tell you it's good is the Bone Mouse Big Toe from Shadowmoon Burial Grounds. You can use it, and it will increase your crit chance by 1.6k. You can see it right now. I have 2.8k and now 3.7k, which means my abilities have a higher crit chance and a higher chance to deal a lot more damage. Other than that, it also deals 48k damage split between enemies in front of you. So you have a little frontal extra damage as well. So those trinkets are the trinkets you should really look forward to get, to keep, or to farm. So let's get into Fuel Warrior builds. I would start with the Onslaught and Plus build because this is currently in 10.0.5, the most used talent tree I see. You can see the link in the description. This is straightly for M+, so that's why we take Stormbolt and Horned Reflexes for a shorter cooldown of a pummel. And the way this this build works is if we look at the rotation, we go in, or we don't go in immediately. We use Ravager, go in with Whirlwind, use our full CDs, and then prioritize Onslaught as often as we can while using Rampage. Because we are playing with Anger Management, which will reduce our Recklessness and Ravager by 1 second for every 20 rage we spend, which is usually by rampaging. And we're playing Onslaught, which will increase the enrage buff from us by 6 seconds. That's why at the beginning of the video you saw 6 seconds instead of 4. And we deal 27k damage with it. So it's a good chunk of damage, which will ensure with Anger Management that we always have damage in every pack and then plus. We're also playing Avatar, which will proc Recklessness, and we are playing Spear of Bastion. So we're going in by we can use our Trinket, which we do right now. Trinket, Ravager, Onslaught, Rampage, Whirlwind, Rampage, Raging Blow, Rampage, Raging Blow, Whirlwind to spread our damage. Then don't forget, you have to use Whirlwind to spread the damage beyond one target. Whirlwind always gives us, if we use the talent for it, 4 stacks. And those 4 stacks will be consumed by one ability. One ability, 1 stack, second ability, 2nd stack, third ability, 3rd stack, and fourth ability, 4th stack. So Rampage, Raging Blow, Whirlwind, Rampage, Execute, Onslaught, Raging Blow, Rampage. So if we're going into AOE, we really want a Whirlwind after every 4 ability to spread our damage. Why are we using Rampage as often? Because we want to reduce the CDs of our main abilities, which is Ravager and Recklessness, as fast and as often as we can. So our goal is build up a lot of rage, spend it as fast as we can. Build up, spend it. It's pump and dump. Build up, spend it. Between that, we want to use Onslaught on cooldown because it's a very strong ability, so we want to use it as often as possible. It's not, it's an instant cast and it doesn't consume rage, so we can always use it if it's up. Okay, so if we look at this again, we throw our Ravager first because our Ravager, let's see here, our Ravager deals a lot of AoE damage, which is great, but it also increases our strength every 0.8 seconds by 5%, up to 6 stacks. So in total, 30% damage increase for us. So we throw the Ravager, so it can start stacking, go in, Whirlwind, full CDs with a macro, Rampage, Onslaught, we Whirlwind because we don't have a Whirlwind stack, Rampage again, Raging Blow, Rampage, Execute, Whirlwind, Rampage, Onslaught, Rampage, Execute, Whirlwind, Rampage, Raging Blow, Rampage, Raging Blow. Okay? So with this build, you don't have to think about being enraged because you're usually permanently enraged because either Onslaught enrages you or Rampage. And your enrage holds for 6 seconds and it's more than enough time. So don't worry about enrage in this build. That's actually very nice to not be worrying about enrage. The prioritization of this build is Rampage first, Onslaught, Rampage on 1, then Execute, then Raging Blow, and then Bloodthirst. Okay? So it's Rampage, Onslaught, Execute, Raging Blow, Bloodthirst. Again, Rampage, Onslaught, Execute, Raging Blow, Bloodthirst. Okay? Ravager and Execute you will use on cooldown every time you have it. Avatar and Spear, you will try to line with those two, but if it's not possible, you just use them as well. To make your rotation a little easier, there are a couple of macros that you can use. This one, for example, which will use all of your major CDs plus your Trinket in one button So you can see it here. It's Shift V for me. So I used everything right now. Recklessness, Spear, and Avatar. Ravager for me is on a mouse over macro, which means wherever I have my mouse, Ravager will go. So let's do it like this. Now Ravager goes there. Do you see it? And usually we want to use it preemptively before we go in. So we throw it into the pack, obviously, and then we go in with all our CDs. Yeah, and this is the Onslaught build explained. It can really deal a lot of damage in every key level. So really try to improve your prioritization and the rotation to ensure as much rage output as you can while using Onslaught as often as you can. And I think you will notice that you can actually deal a lot of damage in every kind of key, either single target or multi-target. On single target, obviously the build works the same way, but this time we just don't use Whirlwind because we only have one target. Okay, so let's get into another build, which is also good for M+. In my opinion, also a very, very nice build. This build is built like this. Talent tree is built like this. Also, again, Anger Management, Ravager, this time with Odin's Fury, Hot Steel, Cold Steel, Hot Blood, Dragon Raw, and Avatar. We are using the same macro, but this time we replace Kirin Spear with Dragon Raw. You can see it right here, Thunderous Raw. And the way this build works is we try to apply as much bleeds as we can. Because Odin's Fury, Thunderous Raw, and Cold Steel, Hot Blood are bleeds, which are all buffed by Thunderous Words and Thunderous Raw. Our prioritization is different now, and we have less single target damage with this build. But the way it works is we want to go in. Ravager first again. So we'll throw Ravager. We want to go in. Use all our spells. Rampage, Bloodthirst now. Rampage, Execute, Odin's Fury. This gives us 4 stacks. Rampage, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Raging Blow, Whirlwind, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Execute. Now the prioritization is different. Why? Because now Bloodthirst actually spreads, if it crits, a bleed. And we really want to maximize the amount of targets we hit with the bleed. So we always try to use Bloodthirst on cooldown. At the same time, we want to use Rampage as much as we can because we have Anger Management, which means we reset our cooldowns from Recklessness and Ravager by 4 seconds every time we use it. So Rampage as much as possible. If we have Forset, we can also improve our damage of Executes because we're also playing Execute in this build. And use it as a filler. So we use Rampage, Bloodthirst, Execute the whole time. We try to do it as much as possible. So the prioritization of this build is Rampage to increase our Enrage uptime, deal a lot of damage, and reset our cooldowns. Bloodthirst to spread the bleed, and Execute to deal good flat damage over time the whole time. Because if we play with Execute, we have also Ashen Juggernaut, which will stack 5 times, which will increase our chance of critical strike of Execute by 50%. So this build is all around about critting. We want to crit as much as possible, and that's why we're trying to break down our Recklessness cooldown as fast as possible by using Rampage. Because Recklessness gives us a 20% crit chance buff. Okay, so let's go in again. We use our Trinket, Ravager, go in, use full CDs, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Raging Blow, Odin's Fury. Let's forget I used the Whirlwind there. Rampage, Execute, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Whirlwind, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Raging Blow. And we really want to use the Whirlwind, of course, again, to spread our Bloodthirst. It's very important to spread our abilities, especially Bloodthirst. We want to use as much stacks as we can before using another Whirlwind. So this is the Dragon Raw build. It's also very, very nice for the hand, for your carpal tunnels, because it's not that high APM, but it still can deal a lot of damage. Also, on a side note, this build is not target capped. Usually when you play with Spear, or only Odin's Fury, or Whirlwind, your targets are capped to 4 to 5 targets. But with this build, Dragon Raw and Cold Steel Hot Blood can hit any amount of targets. Okay, so on big pulls, it's even better to play Thunderous Roar. Okay, well, let's get now to raiding. If you want to raid, or you're already raiding, you don't have the perfect or a good talent tree, this is one of the most used talent trees right now. They're also different. You usually use different builds on different bosses, but this one overall can perform on any boss, so don't worry about it. But obviously you can always optimize on every specific boss. You can find every talent tree in my Discord. Okay, so how does this one work? Let's go to one target. Let's say we have one target in our boss fight. So on pull timer, like 3 seconds before pull, you use your trinket. On pull, you use Ravager and go in. Let's see it. Let's act like I'm using my trinket because it's on cooldown right now. So we use trinket, Ravager, go in. Use all our CDs, Rampage, Crushing Blow, Rampage, Crushing Blow, Rampage, Odyns Fury, Raging Blow, Crushing Blow, Rampage, Crushing Blow, Rampage, Crushing Blow. Oops, let's execute Raging Blow, Rampage. So this whole build plays around buffing up our Rampage, our Crushing Blows. It's we're using Reckless Abandon, and Reckless Abandon usually means that our next two, after using Rampage, our next two Raging Blows are converted into Crushing Blows. And we want to use Crushing Blow because it deals a lot of damage. Our whole build is built around stronger Raging Blows or Crushing Blows. So on single target, it's very, very good if you have a good Rampage uptime and Crushing Blow uptime. So we're trying to build up Rage, use Rampage, and then Raging or Crushing Blow. So our rotation would be like, our prioritization would be like Rampage, Crushing Blow, Execute. Okay? So we always try to use our Rampage and then use our 2 Crushing Blow stacks. Now we have 2 Crushing Blow, but we still have Raging Blow stacks, but we don't use them. We use Rampage now or Execute to don't lose our stacks of Raging Blow to use Crushing Blow after that. If you use Raging Blow, I don't have any stacks anymore and I have to wait. So we use all of the Crushing Blow. Let's act like I don't have. I'm using all my Rage. And now I don't have Crushing Blow, right? Because I didn't manage my Raging Blows well. Oh, I'm dying. Let's go here. So this one doesn't kill me. So if you're in fight and you have Raging Blow stacks and no Rampage, let's do it like this. Crushing Blow. Now we have Raging Blow stacks, but no Rampage. We use Execute to build up Rage. Because it also, first of all, Execute is to get damage, and it starts stacking up to 5 times. So we use Execute, Rampage, Crushing Blow, 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 Execute, Rampage. Okay? So we always try to keep at least 2 stacks of Raging Blow to use after we Rampage. Because we really don't want to starve of Raging Blow stacks. And that's how we secure good single target damage. If you're fighting a multi-target boss, you do the same rotation, but this time you always use Whirlwind between that. And don't forget, on this build, Odyns Fury also gives you 4 stacks. So if you go in, and we take this talent, Titan's Torment, if we use Avatar, I will use Avatar right now. It also uses Odyns Fury, means we have also 4 stacks of Whirlwind. Because Odyns Fury gives us 4 stacks of Whirlwind. So when you go in the engage, you don't have to press Whirlwind. You can either press your full CDs or your Bloodthirst to end rage up. So you go in, full CDs, Rampage, Raging Blow, Rampage, Odyns Fury, and so on. And don't forget your Ravager at the start. And that's how you can that's how you can play your raid bosses. I have also more talent trees and more specific talent trees in my Discord if you want to improve your specific damage on specific bosses. Okay? Okay, now we come into something more general. How can we improve our gameplay as a viewer if we know all this stuff? First of all, I'm always saying try to do as much, try to use as much hotkeys as you can or shortcuts. Like, don't try to click your Fury Warrior spells. You can deal damage while clicking your spells, but as you know, Fury Warrior is a very high-paced class. So being able to just out of your knowledge, pressing all the buttons by hand and not by clicking, will always be faster and a good damage gain. Second, if you want to improve your damage, you can look at your damage output, and maybe after one key or one raid, and look what is someone else doing maybe that is playing better, or maybe the same item level and he's doing more damage. Try to compare your damage, try to compare the amount of uses, try to compare how long you were enraged. Maybe you weren't like enraged as often, maybe you can improve that. Maybe you didn't use your racial as often, and all that stuff. You can just by using details and compare you to someone else, or go to Warcraft blogs. You can also go there and improve by looking at the best players. For me, what helped a lot was also using Weakauras, like this one from Luxtus. It's also in the description or in my Discord. Because it shows my CDs more centered in the game. But you don't have to use it, you can also use the normal UI and just put your spells a little more higher. But I like how it emphasizes when I use something. See, like this, it shows the cooldown, it's glowing, like it gives me a little more reaction. And I like that. As well, I'm using the now platers, which shows like this, where I have debuffs, what is affected and everything. Right now it doesn't show any debuff because I don't have any debuff running, but usually it shows above the health bar the debuffs I have on him. One reason I'm also playing with UI is because it shows me my rage bar and my enraged timer. You can get the full UI in my Discord, or oh no, wait, you have to get it on, you have to get it on the UI, this one, the full UI you have to get on now. But this Weakaura you can get in my Discord from Luxtus. And I like it a lot, like it shows me a lot. But you don't have to use them, as I said. There are a lot of different UIs which will help you improve your Fury Warrior damage and gameplay. Yeah. And that's already it, I guess. If you have further questions, please let me know in the comments or maybe in the Discord. If I forgot something, please let me know. As I already said, there are a lot of builds and a lot of playstyles you can play, and a lot of them are also in my Discord. I couldn't go into detail in this video because it would take like 2 hours to talk about every single spec, every single talent. But I have very beginner-friendly videos also in my Discord, so just join. Tune in. You can also join the discussion because a lot of warriors are in Discord, and just ask about anything you want. I hope it helped you somehow, and I wish you a great day, good loot, and we'll see you in the next time.